Yo, Tony D, back with another Batman tale. This one, if you're into chilling, moody, gothic, pure 90s goodness, this is a good one. Written by Moench, Art Jones, colors Beatty. Great stuff. They had a heck of a run. I think Moench is a very underrated writer. The older I get, the more I appreciate writing that's very crafted, and just as much art as the actual art on the page. But these two really hit some home runs. So let's get into this. Faceless. What we have here is Batman has come out of the whole breaking of the back. He mentions in here that he's back fully. He's got his edge back. He can teeter the line of darkness, which is a razor's edge, and not fall into the obsessiveness. He makes that distinction that he is on target. We start off, it's your typical villain beatdown stuff. But what's important about it is Batman is showing that he's back. And this is easy for him. The artwork here, I have to highlight this. And that's why I have my little stickies. Look at that. That is beautiful. Jones can really bring out a design flair in a character, especially Batman. He leans into Batman's cape heavily, and it is beautiful. Love how the circular motion there just frames all this stuff. I just can't say enough about how he draws Batman. And we'll get into some stuff later in the second issue where I think that there is some transitional quality to what Jones is doing, and I'll describe that later. But we really love the dark color. Beatty's color is awesome in here too. I think that whole team really were hitting it, but as far as an audience, like in the 90s, I think that's a real tough sell because we were all just enamored by the different than. You're either greater than, less than, or different than. And there was a lot of different than stuff going on with Image especially. And I think this really got overlooked. That's why I'm mentioning that. But we get in here and Batman, this is where he's setting it up, where he's losing touch with his Bruce Wayne persona. And he's making that statement. He's also realizing to keep his balance, he has to put in work with his other persona. And what's really fantastic about Moench is this parallels so much with the antagonist who we are fixing to meet. And this is the guy right here. Zedno is our antagonist. He's a mailman, and he's being laid off, and that's stress in itself. And Moench and Kelley Jones, they really capture the mood of it, of losing your job, how this is going to set. It's like a domino that's being set off. Another thing I want to mention about Kelley Jones is this really reminded me of old horror books where the Crypt Keeper would be in a panel to kind of just, hey, here's some of the story. He does that a lot. I'll point him out. It's a cool little detail, but it adds to that horror element because you're calling back from the past. Totally dig it. You go on his route, and this is important stuff where in the color, Beatty just nails it. He's just the mailman. Love the red color. That's what I'm talking about. They're just red. And I love the green, the contrast with the colors. And he's just stewing in it. He's got 2 weeks to do this. And just, he's being treated like a nobody. And this is where he decides maybe he should do something. But everyone's ignoring him. I found this interesting. Bruce Wayne finding that balance. We have looks like a love interest here. I didn't dig too much into that, but there is some imagery, I think, in the second issue. I'll point it out. But I did, that kind of felt like a Joker kind of call out. He is Bruce Wayne, but still the villains will never leave. I think that was done on purpose, Killer Croc or whatever. The dangers are still there. They're being displayed in a very vicious, menacing manner. The balance between Batman and Bruce Wayne, you can't have one without always knowing about the other. They're just doing a lot of relationship stuff, setting that up. It creates in here is later down the road, it's going to create some tension and it's going to create some urgency, and we'll get to that. This guy, Zedno, he's actually has somebody tattooed on his chest. He lifts weights. He's keeping people's mail, which is important because stacks of mail like that, they're all addressed to somebody, right? There's some symbolism there where just the weight of everybody ignoring him is, he's reminded of it. He's just surrounding himself of it, just the negativity. This is where he decides he needs to be somebody else. He needs to take their identity, which you get into a lot of psychological stuff with that. This is where he starts off, and it's pretty brutal. And the thing about Kelley Jones' artwork, it's very cartoonish when it's just, I don't want to say regular people, but just characters like Alfred, not a superhero, just everyday characters, but he morphs. Look at the morphing of the face. And whenever Kelley Jones gets to a moment like that, he unleashes the demons from that pencil. It's in there. It's a calm, the clouds and the storm. I totally love it. I dig it. And you can see here, look, that is extremely different from that. I don't know. Let me know what you think. A lot of people were very critical about his artwork when it first came out, especially the ears on Batman. I like it. Now we're getting to, there's more comparison with Batman and his balancing and with the spiraling descent of Zedno, Mr. Nobody. And Moench leans heavily into this balance, which makes this book a very deep read. It's deeper. He's going on his route and he's doing what he's doing with the people that have wronged him in his eyes, thinking that's going to make it better. But on the other hand, he's leaving notes, cryptic notes. And this is where the great detective work starts. Batman hears of what's going on, and Gordon, they have a relationship at this point in time. And you got to remember, Batman doesn't know anything. We, the reader, we know, but Batman has to start digging into his detective side. He's looking into the clues, which is Zedno is leaving notes, which will become important in the second issue. I love glasses when they don't show your eyes. I don't know, always have. And this is the brooding Batman. Kelley Jones has transformed him into this, he's brooding, thinking about what's going on. Kelley Jones was very methodical with when Batman is on the page. It's the design work just shot out of that pencil. And there's another one of those callback to the old horror books. I love that. It gives it a more cinematic feel. And Zedno's just getting more negativity. Bruce Wayne's love interest actually bumps into him, and it creates a situation where, is he going to target her? Or, I don't know. It puts that on the table. It's up for discussion. And he tells him, you're definitely on the route. We're wrapping up this issue. Very well set up. Artwork is on point. Batman needs help. And that's another Moench writing technique is Batman cannot do it alone. He has to have help to maintain that balance. Zedno, totally losing it. He goes to the florist and lets him know. And we're headed to the next issue. Love that cover too. That's what drew me in. I'll sit there and slum, and a cover can draw me into something and I'll get it. But issue 543, same team. Look at the cover, or look at the cape. That's what I'm talking about. Kelley Jones, I would say he is the #1 cape drawer for Batman. If you got someone better, let me know. You may think McFarlane is better, but as far as raw grittiness and just design pattern, he's got it. But here we go. Here's another shot of the detective, a segue into the story, the old horror books. I just love that. That's a great touch. Batman and Robin are actually puzzling through this. If you like a detective story, good story to jump in. And they really give you a complete breakdown of the psychology of somebody like this. They've studied this. This just isn't made up, but it is very detailed. And Robin's kind of acting like a devil's advocate to questions Batman's asking, which you should. That's what makes such a great team. They talk about how it's confusion, there's conflict. How can any killing be murder and suicide at the same time? They're dissecting what these words mean that he leaves. Special deathery. I can't even read that. We, the reader, know pretty much what that means, but Batman needs to puzzle through it. And Robin's, each of the murders, he's killing himself, and Batman's are causing his victims to be killed by themselves. It gets really sticky with the identity issues in here, which are real. The removal of faces, a literal and symbolic erasure of identity. It's like if he erases his identity, he'll feel better. It's very interesting if you're into stuff like that, psychological suspense that delves into horror, just the nature of it. The extreme detectivism, I totally love it when Batman's a detective because that's what he is. He's getting down to a point where all these are happening. He's starting to pinpoint an area, but he still is not sure because the MOs are so different. The victims are so different. He doesn't know. All he knows is they're in the same type of area. And the whole time I'm reading this, I'm screaming, it's the mailman, dude, it's the mail, but you know how that is. And he also mentions this has just started and it's not going to stop. He's established it's a serial killer. And he knows about that. Robin wants to help, as always, but Batman's kind of still, he's not fully into having a partner out in the field, but he's getting there in this point in time. I think he wants to prove to himself that he can fully operate without somebody there, but he does know he needs somebody to maintain that balance without falling into obsession. There's another great shot of the callback to the old horror movies where it gives it that cinematic feel. And now we're getting a sense of you gotta hurry up. There's a climax. You can feel the climax coming, and you get this feeling of you gotta save him. This guy needs to be saved. Batman could do it. If anyone can save him, Batman. This sense of urgency, and it's really great because you can feel it. Moench does an excellent job with that. And Batman is close. I believe this part of the story, Batman is in the area. He has the area nailed down. He just can't figure out the MO with the different victims. He hears the scream. I love how he's hiding himself. He truly is a creature of the night when Kelley Jones draws him. And that right there, totally creature-esque. Clawed fingers. It's fantastic. I think Kelley Jones was onto something way ahead of his time. Oh, and this is very ironic. I'm glad I made a note where he sees the villain. He sees him there, and he sees he's too late. And there's another note, stop these special deatheries. He wants to be stopped. And I think everybody knows, if you're into like dark detective or true detective type stories, that's a very common thing that happens. They want to be stopped. And it also lends to his identity. You know, if he is stopped, he will have an identity through press and things of that nature, court cases. Batman loses our guy. You get a heavy dose of the cape. Nobody's better. I challenge you. Let me know. Because if somebody is better, I want to read it. I want it. Totally love it. He even mentions Zedno. This face is dead. Time for a new one. He loses him, and this is what's ironic, is he loses him at a theater. That has to sting with our hero. And he mentions he could be anyone, any face in the crowd. The symbolism and just the parallels that are drawn with it, it's crafted in there beautifully by Moench. And this is what I was talking about earlier, reflecting on Kelley Jones' artwork, where it's transformative based on the situation and drama. And this is what I'm talking about. You have a very cartoonish feel, which in books like this, it gives you a sense of comfort when you see the cartoonish looks, like Robin right there. You get this little bit of self-comfort, and there's an in-between right here, and the colors are used beautifully to show this. And I was specifically looking at that panel right there. That looks nothing like the cartoonish. It's like something is fixing to happen. It's like a transformative. You go from cartoonish to the brooding, almost creature look of Batman. There's a middle ground. Look at that. The seriousness and tension is building to where he needs to pull that creature out of himself to stop this. He has sent some roses. His love interest was at the florist shop where the florist was done in, and Batman was there and couldn't stop him. Now, Batman has a problem because the Zedno could be after her. And this is the seriousness of it. The faces aren't as cartoonish. I didn't see any other credits, but Kelley Jones is a master, if that's what he's leaning into, is having based on the emotion that the writer's injecting, he's portraying it through the facial expressions and artwork. Look at that. That looks nothing like that right there. That's masterful to me. And it really, and for me, almost subconsciously, it was like, when I see this, like this intermediary type style, it's okay, she is in trouble. It really made me feel she's in peril, and the creature that needs to come out, which is Batman. It's funny how I'm calling him a creature, and that's what he is to villains. He is a creature. He's fear, the embodiment of fear. It's always been that way. He's still in detective mode, and there's that middle ground of illustration. Because he could do that with every panel if he wanted to. I think it's purposely done where there's more of a cartoonish feel for situations that aren't tense, that have a sense of urgency. He's narrowing down even further. You've got to figure that out. It was a great read for me. I was very interactive in my mind while reading it. The sense of urgency, I could feel it. He's starting to figure out that it could be even more concentrated than a neighborhood. A route, maybe. Sometimes I want to help Batman, but what a ride. This is where he figures it out. He needs a breakdown of letter carrier routes. And Robin's, you think Faceless is a mailman? If you ever, let me know if you read things in your mind in a way like that. I think it's cool. He's having Robin see if the tragedies are on a single route. And the sense of urgency is there because his love interest could be in danger. Here we have Faceless. That is not that cartoonish look. That is evil looking. Look at the eyes. He wants to be caught. Bad. It's that whole psychology of just somebody stop me. See, there's that word, somebody stop me, so I can be somebody. He's that far gone where he wants to get caught to be somebody. And the piles of letters, the symbolic nature of that was just fantastic touch. I wonder if the writer came up with that or if the artist came up with that. Hey, why don't I just draw piles of letters? And this guy's strong, and you'll see Batman's sense of urgency. He has the creatures out, the claw. Whenever I see that, he's in full creature mode. And they figure it out. They find where he's at. He's in there lifting weights. Lifting weights is something positive you do for yourself. It creates a sense of self-worth, but this guy is far gone. It just doesn't work for him. And this is beautiful. Batman, he breaks in and he mentions that there's just mountains of mail. This just adds the fragility of Zedno's psyche where this is happening. He's holding on to it. He doesn't let go, but he's holding on to stacks of that sent to somebody, not him. And there's a confrontation. And Batman ain't playing. You're just a cold-blooded murderer. And he gets the jump on Batman. He even tells Batman, why didn't you stop me before I did this again and again? And Batman is talking to himself, foot back, here's the weight. But he wasn't expecting his weight as well. And they're fighting on all these letters. I thought the letters was such a incredible touch to show this guy is not digging out of this. It's too late. You can't fix everybody. Batman's trying to talk sense into him. Batman has a code which keeps him from crossing that razor's edge of a line. And he's, I'll take your face too. And then you hear somebody screaming. It's Robin, and it provides a distraction where Batman can get him off of him. I found that interesting. I don't think it means anything, but now you can start seeing closer to the end, you start seeing names on the letters. They become more real. The somebodies are starting to shine through. And here we go. He's got him to the end, but he had to rely on Robin, which Batman knows that having that balance with Robin is absolutely necessary. And then we get our guy right here. I may have to jump into that. But there you go. Faceless. Great read. Moench is a very underrated writer. This is getting the eager. He really leans into using someone that's not a supervillain and creating a situation for Batman where he has to really lean into his detective skills. Always mentioning the balance. Obsession is a very key component to a lot of Moench's work. He mentions it a lot in a lot of books, and I'm finding out. If you like suspenseful stories with great design work, and just remember, and let me know if you disagree, it's cool. We can talk about anything on this channel. I feel like Jones really leaned into morphing the way his figure drawing was, especially facial expressions, where it gives you a sense of you're safe right here with the cartoonish. But when the tension starts ratcheting up, there's a definite change in the penciling for sure. And Beatty with his color, excellent. I love the red tones when Zedno would start getting mad or he was feeling the pressure of everybody ignoring him. Colors are important. I think they're overlooked quite a bit. But if you like books that lean heavy into noir, horror elements, detective thriller, that's not a traditional superhero tale, these will deliver. And the climax is just, it's a haunting confrontation. And another important element, it's in a derelict part of Gotham where Batman has to use empathy and intimidation to stop Zedno without losing himself in the darkness. That's always a balancing act Batman goes through, and Moench, for me, is the master at it. But hey, hope you enjoyed it. Outro, get it.